Hello and welcome. You're watching Head to Head. I'm Antonina Antosha with UATV. Kiev-based Ukrainian Orthodox Church is to become fully independent from Moscow. After 3 days of closed-door meetings, the Synod of the Ecumenical Patriarchate approved Kiev's path towards autocephaly from the Russian Orthodox Church. This is a major step for Ukraine. To talk more about this, we're joined in the studio today by Alexei Panich. He's a philosopher and a member of Supervisory Board at the Public Broadcasting Company of Ukraine. Hello, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Okay, so as I have already mentioned, Ukrainian Orthodox Church finally got granted autocephaly. Now, let's listen to...
Not yet, there is one step ahead.
Okay, it's been...
Almost.
Yes. Let's listen to what the head of Kiev Patriarchate, Philaret, and President Poroshenko had to say about it.
Українська церква ніколи не була автокефальною.
The Ukrainian Church has never been autocephalous. It had extensive rights in the time of the Kiev princes, but remained part of the Constantinople Patriarchate. And then it fell into Russian captivity and wasn't free either.
Моєї активної участі в цьому процесі
My active participation in this process can be explained by the understanding that it's an extremely important part of creating a state. Ukrainian independence without an autocephalous church, when church is a fifth column of a neighboring country, is not complete independence. It's a remnant of a colonial status.
ця дата увійде в історію України назавжди.
This date will enter the history of Ukraine forever. Receiving autocephaly is the completion of the formation of independence of a very big country, Ukraine.
Дуже великої держави України.
Truly, it is a landmark event. What does it mean for Ukraine?
The yesterday's decision is just a preliminary step. I believe it was the last preliminary step from the side of Ecumenical Patriarchy. Now the ball is on our part of the field. We have to organize a unifying council. This council will elect the head of the independent Ukrainian Church, and this head will be granted with the Thomas, which means the right to be autocephalous church at the same footing with other Orthodox churches.
If Ukrainian bishops play their cards right and try to make it as fast as possible, there is information that we could be granted Thomas by the beginning of November.
Could be. Could be.
What do we need to do to get it?
Just council.
Just a council.
Just a council and
now,
elections.
are there any stumbling blocks that could appear during the council and the selection of the primate of the fully independent Ukrainian Orthodox Church?
The only obstacle I can see now is that if for some strange reason, bizarre reason, the churches in Ukraine will not be able to join efforts and to organize this unifying council. Or the council will end up with a scandal, no elections, no head of the church. Theoretically, it is possible, but I cannot see it in any realistic scenario. And after that, yes, the next step is directly Tomos, autocephalia, and this is indeed one of the greatest events in the history of Ukrainian Orthodox Church. I can count probably 6 events of the same scale as the one we are expecting this very year. Establishing the Metropolitan See in Kiev, then this see was split into 2 clones existing at the same time. There were a period from 14th to 17th century where there were 2 metropolitans of Kiev, one in Moscow Tsardom, another in Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. Then the see in Moscow was transformed into Moscow Patriarchy. Then the see in Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth rejoined Rome and became what we know now as Greek Catholic Church. Then in 30 years, Cossack leaders and the bishops, Orthodox bishops in Ukraine who did not accept this step, reunion with Rome, they asked again the Ecumenical Patriarchy to re-establish the Metropolitan See in Kiev. This see was established in 1536, if I'm not mistaken, or around this time. And in 40 years more, Ecumenical Patriarch granted to Moscow the right to establish Kievan bishops for a while. It was not for sale forever. It was the grant to rule this effective, the permission to have an effective control over Kievan metropoly, because it was, at that time, it was easier because Kiev anyway was under the rule of Moscow Tsardom. After the end of the 17th century, no event comparable happened until today.
Let me just add something. The latest letter published by the Ecumenical Patriarchate states that in 1686, the annexation of Kiev Patriarchate by Moscow Patriarchate was illegal.
Well, it was legal as a right to effectively rule and control. It was illegal as a right to own. And this permission was granted not without special conditions, which were Moscow failed to fulfill from the very first step. So this was an annexation.
Okay, let's say, let's imagine, it's a very realistic situation. The bishops choose the head of the new fully independent Ukrainian Orthodox Church. We get Thomas, the head gets Thomas. What happens next?
Next, other Orthodox churches in the world, now it will be 16, including Ukrainian Church, they have to recognize Ukrainian Church as one in the circle. So Russia will refuse,
of course,
I believe. Maybe a couple of churches more will refuse. The rest, I guess, will accept it. So the majority will be with us.
Okay. And this procedure supposedly lasts for how long?
Well, several years.
Several years. All right, let's talk candidates on the position of the primate of the independent Ukrainian Orthodox Church. Who is the most likely to be chosen?
Well, now, the person who now calls himself Patriarch of Ukrainian Orthodox Church of Kievan Patriarchy, Filaret, is the most likely person, and frankly, he deserves it. Because, many people were afraid he will not survive until this day. Some people were hoping that he will not survive until this day. He's very old. But he survived. He fought for this for years, for decades. And now, I guess, he is the most likely person. But there will be democratical choice. Everyone who will participate in this council could suggest other candidates. So it's a free choice. It's up to Ukrainian bishops to decide only.
What about parishioners? What's going to change for them?
Well, they will not, parishioners who are now belonging to Kievan Patriarchy or so-called Ukrainian Autocephaly Orthodox Church will not feel themselves split from the world Orthodoxy. Because, the church in the world is one church. It's only in the land dimension, here, at this world, they can split or join or rejoin. Some processes are going on here, but church also has a vertical dimension, a spiritual life. In the spiritual life, church is one. So every split is painful. So rejoin the world Orthodoxy is the right thing to do.
Thank you so much for coming and clarifying the whole situation for us. That was Alexei Panich. He is a philosopher and a member of Supervisory Board at the Public Broadcasting Company of Ukraine. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned with UATV for more.